Okay, today we are going to look at this example. Show that the two cycles x squared plus y squared minus 16x minus 12y plus 75 equals to 0, and 5x squared plus 5y squared minus 32x minus 24y plus 75 equals to 0 touch each other. Amen. Okay. Now, before we begin to solve this question, I'm going to introduce cycles that touch. Cycles that touch. Let's look at first cycles. Cycles that touch. That touch. Okay. Now, let us have a rough diagram. If we have this, sorry, no, I'm using my hand to draw. Okay. Let us have it this way. These are two cycles. We assume them to be. It's not perfect. These are two cycles at point center to this center. This is C1, R1. This is C2, R2, right? This cycle is called externally. Externally. Then we have another cycle that touch inside. Sorry. From the center to here. This is C1. This is R1. Here is, sorry, let's have it this way. Sorry. From here, we assume here to be C1, R1. We assume here to be R2, C2. This cycle is called internally. I'm trying to explain because of this problem. They said show that the two cycles x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 12y plus 75 equals to 0, and 5x squared plus 5y squared minus 32x minus 24y plus 75 equals to 0 touch each other. It implies that at the end of the day, after solving this equation, at the end of the day, it implies that it could be externally the cycle, and likewise, it could be what? Internally. Now, note. Let's look at this. Note here that for a cycle to be externally, look at it here. If cycles touch externally, then the distance between their centers is the sum of their radar. Amen? Is the sum of their radar. And if they touch internally, the cycles touch internally, then the distance between their centers is the difference between their radii. Amen. Please take note of this before we begin to solve so that you won't be confused. You won't be asking unnecessary questions. Is that clear? Then, now, let us come. Let's come here again. Let us now recall. Let's begin to solve. Is that clear? We can identify externally cycle and internally cycle. True or false? Okay. Now, let us look at it this way. It means for us to show that these two cycles touch each other, it means we are going to look at, find the radius, true or false, and we'll also find the center of the two cycles to find the radius. Okay, let's do it together. Okay, the first cycle is in this form: x squared plus y squared minus 16x minus 12y plus 75 equals to 0. Amen? Okay. So if you agree with me, we need to find the radius. And how are we going to find the radius of this cycle? Is for us to first obtain our center. Is that clear? So for us to obtain our center, we are going to equate this equation, that is, compare it with the general equation of a cycle. Okay, let us write down the general equation of a cycle. Is that clear? The general equation of a cycle is given as x squared plus y squared plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equals to 0. So now, if we compare it with this, it's from this equation we are going to obtain our f and g, our g and f and c. If you compare it with this equation, you don't need a prophet to tell you how you are going to obtain your G and F and what is your C. Without one telling you, your C is 75. Look at it here. Then you equate this. Equate this minus 12y equals to 2fy, or 2fy equals to minus 12y. The same thing applicable here. 2gx is equals to minus 16x. How to obtain your g and f? Okay, now we write our 2gx is equals to minus 16x. Amen? So if you agree with me, for us to obtain our g, divide through by 2x. Amen? So if you divide through by 2x, we are going to have g, that is, let's do it this way for the sake of Malians. Is that clear? So that they won't be asking unnecessary questions. 2xg all over 2x equals to minus 16x all over 2x. This and this will cancel. We'll have our g equals to 2x to itself, 1. Then to this, we are going to have 8. True or false? Minus 8. Our g is equals to minus 8. But note that in our previous video, I told us that at the center At the center, this center, sorry, at the center here, see, our G is minus and also our F is what? Minus, comma Y. True or false? In our previous video. So note that G is minus. For that, if G is minus, here is minus 8. You multiply through by the minus sign. It implies that our G is equal to plus 8. True or false? Okay? So if you agree with me, our G is equal to plus 8. Then let us obtain our F by equating 2Fy equals to minus what? 12y. We write 2Fy equals to minus 12y. Are you following? So if we divide through by 2y, we are going to have it in this form: 2yf all over 2y equals to minus 12y all over 2y. This will cancel. Are you following? Then we'll be left with f. Then this to itself 1, this to this. It will give us what? Minus 6. But remember that your center f is always what? Negative. So if you agree with me, minus f is equals to minus 6. Then multiply through by the minus, we are going to have our f equals to 6. Then our center, or the coordinate of the center, is what? Our center is now, our center C is now what? Is now, we know that our G, look at it here, our G is what? 8. And our F is now 6. Then, note that your C is equals to where C is equals to what? 75. Are you following? Okay. So if you agree with me, we now say, therefore, G is equals to 8, F is equals to 6 plus 6, and C is equals to 75. Amen? Okay? So if you agree with me, it implies that we are going to find the radius. Are you following? The radius. How are we going to find the radius? Okay, let me take off this part. Let me take off this part.